A very warm welcome to you. This is Telecom Today and I am Sony Otache, your host. Telecom Today is sponsored by the telecom regulatory body, the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), to, among other things, highlight development in the world of telecommunications in particular and information and communications technology (ICT) in general. In this edition, we will bring you the update segment where the NCC threatens to sanction operators if they increase tariffs arbitrarily. We will also tell you about a new development at the NCC as it test runs a new call center number, as well as a call on telecom operators to ensure that the physically challenged are not left out of the loop. Also in this edition, the Commission alerts the public that jamming of frequencies by some institutions and organizations are illegal. And in the news of the week, we will bring you the big event that took place at the NCC Day at the 25th edition of the Enugu International Trade Fair, while our consumer segment revisits the consumer outreach program hosted by the NCC at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in Kaduna State. You will agree with me that this edition is well loaded for your delight. All you need to do is relax and enjoy the program. Welcome back. In football, yellow card signifies a strong warning by the referee to a player to indicate a serious warning and that another foul could result in a red card. This time, the telecom regulator, which is the referee of the telecom industry, has displayed the yellow card for service providers who may want to engage in unapproved or increased tariffs for its services. The Nigerian Communications Commission has issued a strong warning to telecom service providers to desist from introducing tariffs through the back door for sundry telecom services. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Dr. Ejin Jua, who gave this warning at the consumer outreach program held at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, wondered why some operators were reported to have introduced some form of tariffs on their customer call centers. The EVC, who was represented by the Deputy Director Consumer Affairs NCC, Dr. Femi Atoyebi, warned telecom operators who were also present at the outreach program to ensure they do not introduce charges on such services, as the Commission has not approved such charges for any operator. One of the participants at the outreach program had drawn the attention of the Commission that one of the telecom providers charged subscribers for putting calls to its call centers, a report that drew the ire of the representative of the Commission.
We heard it and we have asked them, and several times they have denied it, even to the extent of doing publication to deny it. So it could be maybe there are agents here and there trying to be funny. Officially, NCC has not been informed and has not approved any tariff increment on the recharge card of any service provider.
The Commission was categorical that it had not approved new charges for the service providers. He stressed the need for the operators to ensure that consumers get value for their money. He urged the consumers to take advantage of the mobile number portability to change their service providers while retaining their numbers if their current service providers are making services difficult to be enjoyed. Welcome back to Telecom Today. A new simplified code, or what we call toll-free number, is being made available to Nigerian consumers to be able to reach the NCC on the touch of the dial. The new number 622, which represents NCC on the phone keypad, gets through to the Commission for resolving customer complaints. But the watchword is, subscriber must reach his service provider first before calling the NCC. We have more details of the test run of the number 622. This is another innovation from the telecom regulatory body. 622 is the number to call if your telecom service provider fails to resolve your complaints in the Nigerian telecom industry. The Nigerian Communications Commission has begun a test run of 622, which will ensure that consumers can easily reach its secondary call center platform aimed at resolving issues for consumers. The call center number at the moment will be open for subscribers from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and will not be operational on public holidays. This is part of the continuous efforts by the Commission to ensure that unresolved issues with service providers in the network are reported to the Telecom regulatory body for final directives and decisions. The head of media and public relations of the NCC, Mr. Ruben Moka, disclosed at the NCC Day at the 25th Enugu International Trade Fair that the platform was occasioned by increasing need to achieve customer satisfaction in the industry and to ensure that customers who have exhausted all avenues of redress by their service providers still have opportunity to get redress. Mr. Moka noted that the short call center with short code 622 is the numeric representing the word NCC on the standard phone keypads.
We have a call center, which is, the number is 622. That means NCC. Simply 622. From anywhere you are in the country, if you first go to your service provider and is unable to provide your solutions or unable to answer what you have come for or to resolve your complaints, you call NCC 622.
Our next story is good news for the physically challenged in Nigeria in the quest to ensure that they too enjoy seamless telecom services in spite of their challenges. In the past, the physically challenged decried lack of telecommunications services to especially the visually impaired, as they are heavy users of voice services by operators as they don't use short message services. In regards to this, the Nigerian Communications Commission came up with a program which provides accessibility of ICT in Nigeria to assist physically challenged group. Part of the innovation is the ability to read messages and check account balances and many more, which was demonstrated by a visually impaired subscriber.
NCC facilitated a program talking about accessibility of ICT in Nigeria to persons with disabilities. That means it was talking about how people who have one form of disability or the other will use the telecommunications equipment that we have today. And I was part of that forum. I am proud today that 1 year after that, that forum was not swept under the carpet, but it is going on. Now, this phone with me is a Samsung phone. It's an Android phone. And I remember when we were talking about accessibility of ICT equipment, we're saying it is about 3 people: the service providers like the networks, the manufacturers of the devices like Samsung, and of course the people who are going to use them. And all of us must be prepared to do our part to ensure that we can get the best out of the equipment. So this is a Samsung phone, it's an Android phone. And what we have done to it, we had to recommend and get it. And what MTN has done is, apart from buying the phone, they have paid to have a license of a software that is a program on the phone that will ensure that the phone is talking, so that someone who is blind can use this phone. Okay, you can hear the phone talking.
The NCC is still, however, considering efforts towards ensuring the provision of enjoyable telecom services to challenged groups, that is, persons with disability, the elderly, issues with consumer care coupled with quality of service for the physically challenged persons, service provisions, and consumer rights. This is still Telecom Today. The Nigerian Communications Commission is worried over what it calls frequency jamming in the telecom environment. This is because it also contributes to the poor quality of service in the network. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) says it will no longer tolerate activities of frequency jamming hotels, courts, security outfits, and religious organizations because of its negative impact on the quality of telecommunication services in the country. Director of Spectrum Administration at the Commission, Engineer Austin Nwalune, said during a workshop organized for ICT journalists in Lagos that some organizations have imported devices which are used to jam or disrupt signals, thereby contributing to some issues on the network. He said it is illegal to sell, install, or use any type of jammers without the express authorization of the Commission, and that any organization or individuals caught using jammers in Nigeria without authorization will be prosecuted. Engineer Nwalune said the frequency jamming device have been found to be used by hotels, security operatives, courts, religious institutions to prevent the operation of phone device in their premises and areas of security concerns, but said such actions is illegal and contributes to degrading of the quality of service in the areas they are deployed and could affect the large area depending on the range and transmitting power of the jammer.
If such a thing is happening here and you have a jammer installed here and people are calling you from outside, if they are not getting you, they keep trying. So they are congesting the network the more. So the network gets busy without actually delivering the service. So we want you to please preach the message that jammers are not entertained because they are not good. They are dangerous to our network and to the quality of service that we are able to deliver to them.
Also delivering a paper titled Effective Consumer Rights Protection in the Telecom Industry, the Director of Consumer Affairs Bureau, Mrs. Mariam Bai, says protecting the consumer is a critical part of the Commission's mandate.
With respect to the above, the NCC, in consonance with its mandate to protect, inform and educate telecoms consumers, has produced a number of literature. Maybe people do not have access to this literature, but we are trying as much as possible to circulate it around. We give it out at our fora. We have the CCP, we have the COP, and we have the town hall. And then you can walk into any of our offices and get some of these documents. Procedure for lodging complaints, mobile phones and health concerns, consumer bill of rights, GSM cellular, making the right choice first, consumer and operator obligations.
Our news of the week is on the 25th Enugu International Trade Fair. The sight and sound from the fair, courtesy of the NCC Day, is coming your way just after this short break. Please do stay tuned.
The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), in exercise of its functions enshrined in the Nigerian Communications Act (NCA) 2003, do hereby inform interested parties as follows: that there are available slots in the 3.5 GHz band. The number of available slots in the respective states and the Federal Capital Territory are as indicated below. Please note, only Abuja has 20 MHz bandwidth, while the remaining 27 states on the screen have 25 MHz bandwidth. The frequency will be licensed on a state-by-state basis. Interested applicants should download application form from the Commission's website and complete it in triplicate and submit to the Commission within 3 weeks from March 31st, 2014. Please note that received applications will be processed after this deadline. Management Announcer.
Telecom Today is a program sponsored by the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), and we're glad you're still here. The NCC Day at the Enugu International Trade Fair has come and gone, but the memories lingers on as testified by those who were there. It was another NCC Day at another trade fair, this time the 25th Enugu International Trade Fair, which attracted majority of visitors at the fair that recently held at the Enugu State Capital. With the theme, Increasing Competitiveness of Nigerian Products in the Global Market, the event became another opportunity to inform, educate, and empower the consumers at the Commission, and gave good account of itself in regulating the telecom industry that is now contributing up to 8.69% to the nation's gross domestic product, the GDP. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Dr. Eugene Joa, who was represented by the Executive Commissioner Stakeholder Management of the NCC, Mr. Okechukwu Itanyi, said the fair provides a platform for interaction among players of the industry.
Our participation at the Enugu International Trade Fair is part of our desire to find avenues to interact with industry stakeholders, especially the consumers, who are the ultimate beneficiaries of our regulatory efforts. We also use this type of opportunity to discuss our challenges in industry and the need for all stakeholders to join hands to ensure that we have an industry that delivers to its promise.
The EVC highlighted the many achievements of the sector and the Commission's efforts towards a seamless telecom industry in line with international standards.
We are proud to say that as a Commission, we have delivered substantially and has indeed put Nigeria on the global map of respected countries in telecommunications growth, having maintained the lead as the fastest growing telecom market for 5 consecutive years.
The new president of the Enugu Chamber of Commerce, Mines, Industry and Agriculture, ISIMA, Dr. Ifeanyi Okoye, described the NCC's forum as a day to remember praising the Commission for its giant strides.
Your presence at this fair is a well thought out strategic initiative, as it would offer genuine opportunity and platform for the Commission to interact with her various publics and stakeholders, especially in this part of the country, in an environment for fluid interface and interaction.
Then came the moment that most visitors waited for, a raffle draw where participants won NCC branded smartphones, with no less than 5 lucky winners smiling home with the phone. Dignitaries took turn to pick the winning tickets and made the presentations.
The lucky winner is DK Chisom. Chisom Young Star 50. 0 to her.
Marianne Ebere. Marianne Ebere.
Bro Jesse Orie Onwegua. On behalf of the Nigerian Communications Commission, I formally hand over this asset to you. Congratulations.
One of the winners of the day, who spoke to Telecom today, could not hide his feeling.
Okay, actually, first of all, I have to say thank you, because it's quite a nice thing. And what I have to say to NCC is that I got to know about them more today and what they're actually doing to improve their services and to hear people out who are having issues about their services. And I want to tell them they should keep up to their good work, and may God be their strength.
The special guest of the Commission also shifted to the NCC Pavilion at the fairground, where the Commission's official spoke about the activities of the Commission before retiring at the office of the ISIMA at the fair. Reverend Okechukwu Chima, the Vice President of the Enugu State Chamber of Commerce, also spoke on the day's event.
Telecommunication has been one of the great drivers of our economy. From almost 0.5% contribution in 2001 to about 8.5% contribution to the GDP of this country. They have created employment massively across the value chain, from those who sell the recharge card to those who are employed in base station construction and other activities. They, as a regulator, have improved the service delivery. They have enhanced the delivery mechanism for the telecom industry, and some of us are so glad.
Mr. Ruben Walker, Head of Media and Public Relations Unit of the NCC, commented on what the event meant to the regulatory body.
We have a booth where our Consumer Affairs Department people have been here from the day the trade fair started, and they will be here to the day it ends. But today is the official day where our being here is commemorated with a ceremony where we'll talk to the stakeholders, entertain them, receive questions, give them gifts, respond to their questions, speak to them, interact with them. That is what the NCC Day is all about.
Mr. Amechi Agweze, a representative of the Enugu State Commissioner of Information, also commented on the show, describing it as the first of its kind.
I really commend the Nigerian Communication Commission for their outing today, for this their special day. It is an opportunity they have used to sensitize our people on the activities of these telecom providers. As a regulatory body, they have enlightened our people on their modalities of operation and how the good people of Enugu State can access the responsibilities, can access the services of NCC.
It was indeed a day to remember. Now, our consumer segment, which is still from the Zaria Consumer Outreach Program, as reported by Tinuke Tokura. On our last week's episode of the consumer segment, we brought you the 66th Consumer Outreach Program held in Zaria, Kaduna State. Subscribers were given the opportunity to come face to face with service operators to lay complaints and issues.
Why do you advertise on my phone without my permission? You send text messages to me.
So I've been trying to call the customer care. Anytime they pick up the call, they'll say they will solve the issue. But for 1 month, they didn't solve the issue. And that's how my 60 minutes expired.
The battle between the telecommunications operators and the subscribers still continues. Don't go away.
I discovered that each time I want to use my Airtel to maybe go online, browse, most times I find it difficult. So I don't really know why. And my line is registered. So I don't know why I'm encountering that kind of problem each time, as in often and often and often again.
There is this problem of welcoming back. If you lost your number, your handset, you want to make a welcome back, you find it very difficult to make a welcome back. At the end, you will end up forgetting the number and go and get another number. And before you can get back, people to know with that number is a problem. I want the service provider to take note of that, especially Airtel.
I think he said that since December, he had been trying to swap his missing line. It was stolen, as he said. Now, if that happens, if you misplace your SIM and you go to a contact center, for instance in Zaria here, on Zaria Road, to swap your line, there are some things some questions are going to be asked. One, you must provide a form of identification. Sorry, please, let me just go ahead. You can listen, just note it down, okay? You must provide some form of identification. That's the first thing. Now, the reason is your identification must correspond with the KYC details on that line. I guess the number was registered. So that identification must correspond with that particular detail. The second thing is you must provide at least 5 frequently dialed numbers, and the swap is carried out immediately. Now, I don't know where you went to, sir, that you had this challenge. So I'm sure the lady from the shop here is going to pick your details immediately. And if it's verified or established that the number is yours, we are going to swap it outside here. We won't allow you to leave this place. We are going to swap it outside here to resolve that particular issue.
The parliamentarians and participants thanked the NCC and asked that this kind of forum be held as many times as possible, as it really helped them to come face to face with their service provider, broadened their knowledge on broadband, and also give them access to the commission and the operators.
This bomber that is being introduced will serve as a means to enhance their reading habits and also to do their assignments. So also the network in the school, it's not everybody that have access to the wireless in the school, because you have to register with the Senate, you have to get your password. But with the introduction of the broadband, it will make it easy for people to have access to browsing and other social networking.
As a student, I use the wireless network, and due to other people using this network, it makes it difficult for us to get some source of materials from the system. So with this wireless, broadband wireless, I think it would be suitable for research projects, 400 level dissertation, 300 level dissertation. I think it will go a long way to give more materials to students and to other social network. As a student, I'm an activist of the social network, so I think it will go a long way to assist in the social network activities.
And I would like to use this opportunity to call on NCC to occasionally organize programs like this to enlighten and sensitize Nigerians on the import of phones and the attendant consequences, so that everybody will be on check.
And now, our feedback segment. Today, on the feedback segment, we will be treating one of the frequently asked